Hello guys. So today we are going to discuss very important topic from the endocrinology point of view. So that is thyroid diseases. So this is general medicine topic, thyroid diseases. I will be discussing this topic in topic from Davidson and A.K. Tripathi book. So first we will discuss about hyperthyroidism. So what is hyperthyroidism? It is the hyperfunctioning of thyroid gland. So hyperthyroidism is the result of hyperfunction of thyroid gland. And what is hypothyroidism occurs because of hypofunction of thyroid gland. So in hyper there is hyperfunction of the gland, in hypo there is hypofunction of the gland. First we will discuss about etiology of hyperthyroidism. So very important causes for hyperthyroidism are Graves disease. So Graves disease, multinodular goiter, autonomously functioning thyroid nodule, that is toxic adenoma. So Graves disease, it is the thyrotoxicosis. It is mainly primary thyrotoxicosis. So Graves disease is because of hyperfunctioning of thyroid gland. So because of Graves disease, hyperthyroidism occur. Also multinodular goiter or autonomously functioning thyroid nodule. So if there is nodule in our thyroid gland and it is autonomously functioning, that is because of toxic adenoma or any other tumor, so hyperthyroidism can occur. Next important cause is excess pituitary secretion of THS. So if pituitary is secreting excess TSH, then because of thyroid stimulating hormone, there will be excess thyroid hormones. So if there is excess TSH, then hyperthyroidism can occur. So any problem in pituitary or any problem in thyroid gland can cause hyperthyroidism. Now, intrinsic thyroid stimulating activity of human chorionic gonadotropin in hydatidform mole and choriocarcinoma. So, in choriocarcinoma or in hydatidform mole, hyperthyroidism can be seen. Now, next important cause is trauma ovarian. So, what is it? So, ovarian teratoma. If there is ovarian teratoma and it contains thyroid tissue. So, ovarian teratoma containing thyroid tissue. Metastatic differentiated carcinoma of thyroid are the causes for hyperthyroidism. So important cause of hyperthyroidism are Graves disease, multinodular goiter, autonomously functioning thyroid nodule, excess pituitary secretion, intrinsic thyroid stimulating activity of human chorionic gonadotropin in hydatidform mole, and choriocarcinoma, ovarian teratoma containing thyroid tissue, that is trauma ovarian, metastatic differentiated carcinoma of thyroid. So these are important causes. So look at this table. So causes for hyperthyroidism and their relative frequencies. So first important cause is Graves disease. So whenever you will write causes in your exam, so then first write Graves disease, then frequency is 76%. Then multinodular goiter 14%, autonomously functioning solitary thyroid nodule. Then thyroiditis. So what is thyroiditis? It is inflammation of thyroid gland. So inflammation of thyroid, it is known as thyroiditis. So it will be any causes can be there, like viral thyroiditis because of viral infection. So subacute or dequervian thyroiditis, postpartum. Then iodine induced. Iodine induced, if we are consuming excess iodine, then it can cause hyperthyroidism. So iodine induced, that is drugs, amiodarone. So this is important point. So which drugs can cause hyperthyroidism? So amiodarone has similarity with human thyroid hormone. So the drug which cause hyperthyroidism is amiodarone. Radiographic contrast media, iodine prophylaxis program, extra thyroidal source of thyroid hormone excess. Examples: trauma ovarian. So what is trauma ovarian? If ovarian teratoma contain thyroid tissue. So trauma ovarian. So it is ovarian teratoma containing thyroid tissue. It is known as trauma ovarian. So stroma ovarian is also important cause. So and TSH induced, inappropriate TSH secretion by pituitary, choriocarcinoma and hydatidform mole. then follicular carcinoma plus or minus metastasis. So important causes are Graves' disease, multinodular goiter, autonomously functioning solitary toxic nodule, thyroiditis because of any other cause like subacute thyroiditis, postpartum, then iodine induced excess consumption of drugs can cause in drug like amiodarone can cause hyperthyroidism, then radiographic contrast media, iodine prophylaxis program. So if we are trying to prevent hypothyroidism, and to prevent hypothyroidism we are giving iodine from outside, so if we are giving it in excess quantity it can cause hyperthyroidism. Then extra thyroidal source of thyroid hormone excess. So in any other site where thyroid secretion is occurring other than thyroid gland, like ovarian teratoma where there is thyroid tissue presentation, then factitious hyperthyroidism. So what is factitious hyperthyroidism? It is self-induced hyperthyroidism. If we are taking excess iodine from outside or taking any other drug from outside, and any iatrogenic cause can cause factitious hyperthyroidism. Then TSH induced, if there is problem in pituitary secretion, inappropriate pituitary secretion is there, then choriocarcinoma, hydatiform mole can cause hyperthyroidism. So these are very important causes of hyperthyroidism. Now next is clinical feature of hyperthyroidism. This is very important point. Clinical features of hyperthyroidism. So first clinical feature, right, about goiter. So goiter can occur in hypothyroidism also and hyperthyroidism also. So goiter can be diffuse. If it is diffuse, then we can hear bruit. So bruit is commonly seen in Graves' disease. So diffuse goiter and bruit, if bruit is present, then it can be seen in Graves' disease. Then nodular goiter. So two types of goiters can be seen, that is diffuse and nodular. Then gastrointestinal symptoms are weight loss despite of normal or increased appetite. So in hypothyroidism there will be increased appetite, patient wants to eat, and despite of increased appetite there will be weight loss, so patient will be thin, and cachexia will be there, and in hypo there will be weight gain and there will be loss of appetite. So here there is increased appetite, in hypo there is decreased appetite, here there is weight loss there, and in hypo there will be weight gain. So this is important feature. Then hyperdefecation, diarrhea and steatorrhea. In hypo there will be constipation, here diarrhea, hyperdefecation, anorexia. Anorexia is seen in, so here there will be increased appetite, but anorexia is not a common feature of hyperthyroidism, not a general feature of hyperthyroidism. So it is particularly found in elderly patients. So anorexia is will be particularly found in elderly patient and vomiting. So important feature is loss of appetite, increase loss of weight despite of increased appetite, and diarrhea and hyperdefecation. Then cardiorespiratory causes. So first, right, about goiter can be diffuse or nodular. In case of Graves' disease we can hear bruit, and GIT causes are weight loss despite of increased appetite. Then hyperdefecation, it is a important feature of hyperthyroidism. Then diarrhea, steatorrhea, anorexia is seen in elderly people, and vomiting. And cardiopulmonary causes are palpitation. So this is very important general feature, palpitation. Sinus bradycardia, atrial fibrillation. Atrial fibrillation is seen in elderly people. So wait, atrial fibrillation is seen in elderly people. Anorexia is also seen in elderly people. Palpitations, then increased pulse pressure, then ankle edema in absence of cardiac failure, angina, cardiomyopathy, cardiac failure. So these are the features which will be seen in elderly people. Dyspnea on exertion, this is important, this is general feature. Exacerbation of asthma, weight loss despite of increased appetite, hyperdefecation, diarrhea. So the points which I am highlighting with the purple are the general causes, are the general clinical features. Then neuromuscular features are emotional liability, important feature. Then nervousness, tremor can also be important feature. Irritability, psychosis, hyperreflexia, ill sustained clonus, muscle weakness, periodic paralysis, bulbar myopathy is seen in elderly people. Now dermatological, increased sweating, so this is important cause. Dermatological, increased sweating. Then pruritus can occur, palmar erythema, spider nevi, onycholysis, alopecia. Then pigmentation, vitiligo, digital clubbing. So vitiligo and digital clubbing are seen in Graves' disease. So these are the feature of Graves' disease. Peritibial myxedema, vitiligo, pigmentation are seen in Graves' disease. Now reproductive, amenorrhea, oligomenorrhea, loss of libido, impotence, infertility, spontaneous abortion. Now ocular, lid retraction, general feature. Then lid lag in Graves' disease, grittiness, Graves' disease, excessive lacrimation, general feature. Chemosis, Graves' disease, exophthalmos, corneal ulceration, ophthalmoplegia, diplopia, papilloedema, loss of visual acuity. Now other important causes, important features are heat intolerance. So this is very important feature. And in hypothyroidism there is cold intolerance. Then fatigue, myopathy, apathy, gynecomastia, lymphadenopathy, osteoporosis is seen in elderly people. So now we will summarize all these important points. Don't remember all these points. We have to remember main points or general symptoms or general signs. So goiter. So first is goiter. So goiter. Then second is GIT causes. Then cardiopulmonary causes. Then neuromuscular features. Then dermatological features, reproductive features, ocular features, and other. So you will be writing in following points, that is goiter, gastrointestinal features, then cardiopulmonary features, neuromuscular features, dermatological, reproductive, ocular, and other. So in goiter, goiter can be diffuse or nodular. If there is presence of bruit, if there is bruit, then it is Graves' disease. Then gastrointestinal, important feature is weight loss despite of increased appetite. Then hyperdefecation and diarrhea. These are important points. Then cardiopulmonary, palpitations, then dyspnea on exertion. Then neuromuscular are emotional liability, nervousness, irritability, tremor. Dermatological are increased sweating, pruritus. Reproductive are amenorrhea, oligomenorrhea, infertility, spontaneous abortion, loss of libido, impotence. Other are lid lag, lid retraction, lid lag, grittiness, excessive lacrimation, chemosis, exophthalmos, corneal ulceration, ophthalmoplegia, diplopia, papilloedema, loss of visual acuity. Then other important features are heat intolerance and fatigue. So whenever anyone asks you about features of Graves' disease, then you can tell that there will be diffuse toxic goiter with bruit, and then gastrointestinal symptoms are okay. So weight loss despite of increased appetite. Then then other features are tremor can be there. In pruritus, digital clubbing, and vitiligo. Peritibial mixed edema is important feature of Graves' disease. Then ocular features are exophthalmos, lid lag, grittiness, chemosis, excessive lacrimation, corneal ulceration, ophthalmoplegia, diplopia, papilloedema, loss of visual acuity. Then lymphadenopathy. These are the features of Graves' disease. So these are the features of Graves' disease. Okay, important features of Graves' disease. Now investigation, what are the investigation for Graves to diagnose hyperthyroidism? So we will do we will test thyroid stimulating hormone. So we will test serum T3 and T4. This will be elevated in majority, but T4 so we will measure T3 and T4, then TSH receptor antibody elevated in Graves disease. So Graves disease is autoimmune disease, so there will be elevation of TSH receptor antibodies, and there will be TSH is undetectable, so there will be less TSH, undetectable TSH. So TSH will be low, so TSH will decrease in hyperthyroidism, and T3 and T4 will increase in hypothyroidism. This is for hyper, but in hypo there will be T3, T4 will be less, and TSH will increase. So this is for hypothyroidism. So for hypo, and this one is for hyper. Okay. So we will measure serum T3, serum T4 and TSH tests. Then we will measure TSH receptor antibodies, anti-TPO. We will measure anti-TPO antibodies in hypothyroidism. Then hepatic dysfunction, mild hypercalcemia, glycosuria. So we will measure all. We will do all these tests. But important are simply we will measure TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone. If there is any, if TSH is less, then we can measure T3 and T4. But but for only diagnosis, measure TSH level. So this is about hyperthyroidism. And now we will discuss about Graves disease from hyperthyroidism. So Graves disease is very important question. So what is Graves disease? It is primary thyrotoxicosis. So major CNS symptoms are there. In case of primary thyrotoxicosis, we can see CNS symptoms, and severe symptoms are prominent in secondary thyrotoxicosis. So Graves disease is diffuse toxic nodular goiter. So diffuse thyroid enlargement, ophthalmopathy, rarely peritibial myxedema. It can occur in any age, unusual before puberty, almost affects 30 to 50 years of old age group. So it affects 30 to 50 years of old age group. It is diffuse, there will be diffuse thyroid enlargement, that is there will be diffuse toxic goiter. Then ophthalmopathy, so there will be various eye abnormalities like exophthalmos, lid lag, lid retraction, various eye signs, proptosis. So these are the corneal ulcerations, grittiness of the eye. So these are the ophthalmopathic causes. Then peritibial myxedema. Graves disease is a major immunologically mediated form of hyperthyroidism. So which is major immunologically mediated form of hyperthyroidism? So Graves disease. So other is postpartum thyroiditis. So it is second immunological mediated cause of hyperthyroidism. So major is Graves disease. So pathogenesis is important. So IgG antibodies directed against TSH receptor on thyroid follicular cells, which stimulates thyroid hormone production and in majority goiter formation. So there will be IgG antibodies which will fight against TSH receptor which are located in thyroid follicular cells. So IgG antibodies will be directed against TSH receptor which are present in the thyroid gland. So they will stimulate hormone production. So there will be excess TSH production. That's why there will be high T3 and T4. and it will result in goiter formation. These antibodies are termed as thyroid stimulating immunoglobulins. So the name of these antibodies are thyroid stimulating immunoglobulins and TSH receptor antibodies, and can be detected in serum of the most of the patients in the Graves disease. So we will measure thyroid stimulating antibodies in case of for diagnosing Graves disease. Now, so we will discuss about why there will be peritibial mixed edema or eye signs. So there will be local accumulation of lymphocytes. So there will be local accumulation of lymphocytes within the orbit and the dermis. There will be cytokine mediated proliferation of fibroblast, which secretes hydrophilic glycosaminoglycans. So within the orbit and dermis there will be cytokine mediated proliferation of fibroblasts. So fibroblasts will be proliferated because of cytokine. So cytokine will mediate the proliferation of fibroblasts. As fibroblasts are proliferating, they will secrete hydrophilic glycosaminoglycans. So because of cytokine, fibroblasts are proliferating, and then fibroblast will secrete hydrophilic glycosaminoglycans, resulting in interstitial fluid. The resulting interstitial fluid content combined with chronic inflammatory cell infiltration causes marked swelling of the extraocular muscles. So there will be chronic inflammatory cell infiltration and there will be swelling of the ocular muscle because of accumulation of hydrophilic glycosaminoglycans, which are secreted because of cytokine mediated fibroblast proliferation, and it rise retrobulbar pressure. So there will be raised retrobulbar pressure. Eye is displaced forward because of increased pressure and accumulation of glycosaminoglycans behind the orbit. So displacement or proptosis of eye, exophthalmos, and in more severe cases there will be optic nerve compression. Ultimately fibrosis of ocular muscle. So ultimately there will be fibrosis of ocular muscle will occur. So this is important. Local accumulation of lymphocytes will be there. There will be chronic inflammatory cell infiltration. There will be cytokine mediated fibroblast proliferation, and fibroblast will secrete hydrophilic glycosaminoglycans, and that's why these glycosaminoglycans will accumulate behind the orbit, and it will cause proptosis of eyeball, that is exophthalmos. So eye will be protruded. So this is the picture of exophthalmos, because there is accumulation of hydrophilic glycosaminoglycans, and if these glycosaminoglycans are accumulating in the skin, so there will be peritibial mixed edema. Clinical feature: goiter, so diffuse enlarged goiter. So there will be diffuse enlargement of goiter, usually 2 to 3 times of the normal volume, and increased blood flow manifest by. Okay, so this is important feature. There will be thrill or bruit because of increased blood flow. Most frequent presenting symptom are related to increased exposure of cornea, resulting in proptosis and lid retraction, excessive lacrimation made worse by wind and bright light, pain due to conjunctivitis and corneal ulceration. In addition, there may be loss of visual acuity and visual field, resulting in corneal edema, optic nerve compression. If the extraocular muscles are involved, diplopia will result. So what are the ocular signs? So there will be so there will be exophthalmos, increased exposure of cornea, proptosis, lid retraction, excessive lacrimation which will be made worse by wind or bright light, then pain due to conjunctivitis, corneal ulceration. There may be loss of visual acuity and visual field, resulting in corneal edema, optic nerve compression. Ocular muscles are involved and not act by concert, then diplopia will occur. Then peritibial mixed edema infiltrate to dermatopathy takes the form of raised pink colored purplish plaque on the anterior aspect of the leg. So what are the So what is pretibial myxedema? So it is infiltrative. The dermatopathy takes the form of raised pink colored or purplish plaques in the anterior aspect of the leg. So there will be raised pink or purplish plaque on the anterior aspect of the leg because of infiltrative dermopathy. Extending onto the dorsum of the foot, the lesions may be itchy, so there will be pruritus. Skin may have PUD orange appearance, so there will be orange peel appearance. Growth of coarse hair. Less commonly, face and arms may be affected. So less commonly, it will affect face and arms. So management of Graves' disease, we will give antithyroid drugs, subtotal thyroidectomy, radioiodine. So this is management of hyperthyroidism. So what is Graves' disease? Graves' disease is an autoimmune thyroid disorder. It is primary thyrotoxicosis. There will be CNS symptoms. Then Graves' disease, in Graves' disease there will be diffuse thyroid enlargement, that is diffuse toxic goiter will be seen, and we can hear thrill or bruit because of increased blood vascularity of the gland. There will be excess TSH stimulation because of TSH stimulating and antithyroid antibodies. So they will directed against follicular cells of the thyroid gland, and they will stimulate gland to secrete excess TSH hormone. So this TSH hormones will cause various clinical manifestations of the Graves' disease. In Graves' disease, various type of clinical manifestations are present, like exophthalmos, corneal ulceration, grittiness of the eye, then exposure of cornea, then pain because of corneal edema, corneal ulceration, loss of vision, uh, compression of optic nerve, also the lead retraction, then myxedema, pretibial myxedema. In pretibial myxedema, there will be pink or purplish plaque on the anterior aspect of the leg, which will also involve the dorsal aspect of the foot. Then there will be coarse hairs, and sometimes it will involve face and arms. And treatment of Graves' diseases, we can